Kiri Forest, Outset Island, Ordon Village, Skyloft. In every 3D Zelda so far, with the obvious exclusion of Majora's Mask, Link has had an iconic starting town. Home to many friendly faces and optional help with game mechanics, the starting towns in Zelda games act as mini tutorials of sorts. Now, where exactly does our new hero come from? To find out, we're focusing on this. What is this? Let's find out. We have 3 items of Zelda U footage: the E3 trailer, the Game Awards footage, and the recent teaser from the Nintendo Direct. And I've made my point before that I argue that they're all early game footage, due to what I think is Link's starting tunic and basic equipment, such as the wooden shield, which is traditionally the starting shield in Zelda games. While these are all early on in the game, I'll go one step further and say that I think that the Game Awards footage takes place right at the beginning of the game. The Game Awards footage is arguably our best source of information on the game, some of which is admittedly now untrue.
Are you sure that this will be released next year?
Yes. All of the staff members are working together and doing their best.
Ha! Lies. One piece of evidence for this footage being at the start of the game is his equipment. Basic shield, basic short sword, basic bow with basic arrows. No magic book, great sword or energy arrow. While his equipment here is still admittedly advanced for traditional early Zelda gameplay, since he has the bow, it's not a stretch to assume that this Link will be better equipped than before at the start of the game, considering the scale of the apparently open and free world he has to explore from the get-go. Another argument for this being the start of the game is the map icons. It's pretty much safe to assume that map icons will appear on the gamepad when you discover locations by travelling to them. This is the case in other Zelda games such as The Wind Waker, and also in games such as Skyrim, a game with an overworld which Aonuma is quoted as having taken inspiration from. The gamepad map is seen during the Game Awards footage, but only has 2 icons on it, even at this zoom level. This small triangular icon, and this icon which looks like 2 buildings. The lack of map icons is a huge piece of evidence that this footage is at the beginning of the game, because surely if there are no map icons, then he hasn't travelled anywhere. Phew, so we've got that down. Link, here, is just beginning his adventure into the revamped land of Hyrule. So what would that make this icon? Well, I suggest that the icon having 2 buildings would suggest a town or some small settlement. And this is supported by the opening shot of the gameplay footage, where we see large flags and even what appears to be a fence. Considering that the town icon is behind Link, and this is footage from the start of the game, that would make this area the outskirts of his starting town, which makes sense considering the placement of a watchtower on the border for surveillance and defense of the settlement. The only other proof I can squeeze out about the evidence of this being a settlement is this bridge on the map, as well as a clearing apparently having been made amongst some trees, as well as what could potentially be a fishing pier. So from all this information about his town, what can we learn about the state of it and its inhabitants? Well, judging by the slightly rickety, worn at the edges look of this fence, these flags, and the watchtower, which appears to actually be making use of the trunk of a tree, we can infer that Link's starting town will have a rural feel to it, quite similar to Ordon Village. However, by looking at Link's starting outfit, which I covered in my analysis here, we can infer that its people are not as rustic as the Ordonians, and perhaps have some sort of links to the ocean. And well, look how close it is to the sea, and what appears to be a small port. Link's starting town and its people is probably heavily influenced by the seas, similar to Outset Island from The Wind Waker. The presence of a watchtower and a fence, along with the flags, to me at least suggests a military feel to the border of the settlement. So perhaps the town is under threat from something such as the monsters we see later on, and that is the reason Link ventures out into the world. What Miyamoto calls the suspicious looking tower would be evidence for the presence of danger quite near to the town itself. Hometowns are always a centerpiece of the 3D Zelda games. However intense the story gets, and however daunting Link's task appears to be, the starting town is there as a reminder of why Link is on the quest in the first place, the people he has to help, and the civilization he must defend. And this Link, with his heavily burdened horse, complete with sleeping mat and cloak, strongly gives the feel of a young boy equipped and then sent out by his townsfolk to tackle some evil. The town not only provides a reason for his adventure, it also gives the player a home to which they can return whenever they choose to take a break from their travels in the great new world of Hyrule. Thanks for watching this episode of Zelda Focus. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to view some other of my videos, please click on either of the boxes here. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.